In July 2018, Chinese President Xi Jinping made a historic landing in Rwanda.
习近平是在结束对卢旺达国事访问后抵达南非的。
By Chinese President Xi Jinping, who arrived in Kigali on Sunday.
He signed 15 bilateral agreements ranging from health to aviation that the rest of the world dismissed as a standard diplomatic photo op. They were wrong. Now, 8 years later, Rwanda is harvesting the seeds of that visit.
Today, for the first time in Africa, a self-flying air taxi will take to the skies.
While the rest of the continent is still debating infrastructure, this tiny nation became the first in Africa, and one of the very few on Earth, to launch a pilotless self-flying air taxi into its sky. While the tech is Chinese, the race is African. Rwanda isn't alone. Look at this. It looks like a bird, it lands on tracks, and it's unlike anything else in the world. That is South African innovation, the Fracti. You've seen this viral air car from Slovakia? What they don't tell you is that its heart, the engine powering that flight, was built in South Africa. From Ghana's early ambitious prototypes to these futuristic machines, Africans are no longer just passengers in the aviation industry. They are becoming the pilots.
So, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, keep your minds open, and let's take off on this journey together. Welcome to Aviation Africa 2025, Murakaza Neza, Kigali.
In this video, we are going to break down the new urban sky rush. I'll show you how China leapfrogged every Western superpower to live in 2050 today. Just look at this Xpeng land carrier, and why Western media is getting the story completely wrong. But pause. Enough thinking. Before we show you China's sci-fi motherships or Rwanda's hidden role in this revolution, you need to understand exactly what this beast is. It has no pilot, it has no steering wheel, and according to the specs I'm about to show you, it shouldn't even be possible at this price point. Let's open the hood. Okay, come closer. You need to see this up close to believe it. Stop wondering if this is another AI hallucination. It's not. This is real metal. First thing you notice? It doesn't look like a plane. It looks like a giant drone on steroids. Count them with me. 1, 2, 16. There are 16 propellers surrounding this cabin. And that's not just to look cool. That is your life insurance. Here's the wildest part. If one of these motors fails mid-air, you don't crash. If two of them fail, you still don't crash. The system instantly rebalances the power to the other rotors to keep you stable. It's called distributed electric propulsion, and it's safer than any helicopter you've ever seen. Now, look at the experience inside. There is no pilot. There is no joystick. You just get in, tap your destination on the tablet, and the machine locks onto a pre-surveyed route, like an invisible highway in the sky. Look at these two passengers flying live over Kigali. They aren't holding controls. They're taking selfies. The drone handles the wind, the altitude, and the landing. It is total freedom. And the charging? Standard charging takes about 1 to 2 hours. But the new tech coming down the pipeline? It changes everything. EHang is rolling out superchargers that can pump this battery from 30% to 80% in under 10 minutes. You land, grab a coffee, and by the time you're done, this bird is ready to fly again. But here is the number that changes everything. A regular helicopter costs millions and burns jet fuel like crazy. This costs around $410,000. That is the price of a supercar, but this one actually flies. It's fast, it's cheap, and it's pilotless. But looking at this futuristic Chinese marvel parked here in East Africa, you have to ask the billion-dollar question. How? How did a tiny landlocked country like Rwanda beat the entire world to become the first testing lab for this technology? The answer is not what you think. Before we move on, if you're passionate about seeing Africa rise, hitting the like button and subscribing helps others find this content. It also goes a long way in helping our team produce more work like this. Thank you for your support. So why did the first flight happen here in Kigali and not in Silicon Valley? Simple. While the West is obsessed with writing rules, Rwanda is obsessed with results. To understand the difference, Look at the American FAA. If you want to fly a commercial drone or air taxi in a US city today, you are hit with FAR 91.119. This rule mandates you maintain 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle in a congested area and 500 feet in non-populated zones. Plus, you generally cannot land inside the city unless you have a designated, expensive heliport that takes years to permit. It is a regulatory nightmare that kills innovation before it even takes off. Rwanda looked at those rules and threw them in the trash. They realized that, in a country of mountains, altitude isn't a danger, it's a highway. Instead of blocking flight, they built a regulatory sandbox to make it happen. And this order came straight from the top. President Kagame knows the painful reality of this continent. It is often cheaper to fly from Africa to Europe than to fly from one African country to another. He was direct about why we need this technology. Listen to him explaining how ridiculously expensive it is to travel in Africa.
Unfortunately, our continent continues to face high operational costs and infrastructure gaps. This makes the movement of people and cargo more expensive than it should be.
And then, he dropped the line that defined the entire summit.
Travel should not only be for the rich.
Rwanda has the receipts to back this up. Remember, they were the first country on Earth to launch a national drone delivery network back in 2016. Today, 75% of the country's blood supply outside the capital is delivered from the sky. They turned a 4-hour drive on dangerous mountain roads into a 15-minute flight that saves thousands of lives every year. That success is exactly why Chinese giants eHong and CRBC chose Kigali. They didn't need a government that talks about innovation. They needed one that had already proven it could manage a busy sky. Now add the economic engine. Rwanda is now visa-free for all Africans.
We have removed visa restrictions for all African citizens.
They have 95% 4G coverage, and they just opened the largest startup hub on the continent, Norsken House, attracting millions in venture capital to build the Kigali Innovation City. And most importantly, they are training the people to run it. Look at Esther Mbabazi.
Because Rwanda's first female pilot, that's just something that happened, but my plan and my dream initially was to be a pilot.
She's not just a pilot. She's Rwanda's first female captain and the face of a new generation of engineers built for this era. She is the proof that Rwanda isn't just importing tech, they are mastering it. While Rwanda might be the first to fly the eHang as Kigali secures test flights, the rest of the continent is secretly building its own air force. From the garages of South Africa to the runways of Kenya, African engineers are building machines that look like they fell out of a sci-fi movie. And let's be real, some of them might just give the Chinese a run for their money. First, you have to see what's happening in South Africa. There is a startup called Fractal, and they have rejected the boring flying taxi designs everyone else is copying. They are building the Macrobat. Let me be clear, this is the only aircraft of its kind in the entire world. It is so radical that the team has chosen to keep the most sensitive engineering details completely undisclosed, fearing intellectual property theft. Look at the feet. Instead of wheels, it has tracked feet, like a tank. Why? The designers know the reality of Africa. They know that in rural areas, you don't have smooth tarmac. You have mud, rocks, and uneven ground. So they built a machine that uses biomimicry, mimicking the legs of a bird, to squat and launch itself vertically from anywhere. It hits 180 kilometers per hour, carries 150 kilograms, and is optionally piloted. They are targeting a 2029 launch. It's weird, it's brilliant, and it is 100% African. Then, move north to the Silicon Savannah. Kenya Airways isn't experimenting with garage prototypes. Their subsidiary, Fahari Aviation, went straight to the big leagues. They signed a firm deal to acquire up to 40 electric air taxis from Embraer's Eve Air Mobility. And they are moving fast. They are preparing to receive their first fleet this year. The goal is simple but game-changing. bypass Nairobi's legendary traffic jams, and fly tourists from the airport straight to the safari lodges. We are talking about turning a 2-hour drive into a 15-minute flight. But you have to understand, this isn't just about flying cars. This is about a continent waking up. This aviation race is fueled by a massive tech explosion. Nairobi is passing AI laws. Lagos is sitting on a $9.8 billion startup ecosystem. And in Kigali, electric buses from Basigo are already replacing gas guzzlers on the streets. However, while Africa is building the future, one country has already mastered the present. To understand how we got here, we have to look at the master architect. We have to look at China. China went far beyond building a simple flying car. They've engineered a machine that has Western aviation giants genuinely panicking. Let's step inside the factory. Step inside. What you're looking at isn't a workshop or a lab. This is the world's first mass production line for flying cars, located right in the heart of Guangzhou. While Western companies are still hand-building prototypes in quiet hangars, China has turned the sky into an assembly line. The lead they have right now? It isn't just a gap, it's a generational leap. Remember the EHang EH216S, the same beast we saw making history in Rwanda? In the West, they're still debating if this is safe. In China, it's already been cleared for takeoff. This is the only pilotless flying taxi on Earth that has secured its full suite of certifications. In cities like Guangzhou and Hefei, the trial phase is over. People are buying tickets, hopping in, and flying over the skyline for urban tours. 130 kilometers per hour, fully autonomous, and not a single pilot in sight. China didn't wait for permission. They built the reality while everyone else was stuck in a meeting. But if you want to see what really has the old-school aviation industry panicking, look at this. This is the Xpeng land aircraft carrier, now rebranded as Arisen. It looks like it belongs on a Martian colony, but it's hitting the streets right now. This is a mothership system. You have a 6-wheeled, street-legal beast that drives like a luxury SUV with over 1,000 kilometers of range. But look at the trunk. It's a mobile hangar. It carries a 2-person flying module that recharges while you're on the road. Imagine driving to the coast, hitting a button, and releasing your own personal aircraft to scout the cliffs. You fly your hop, land back on the van, and you're ready for the next one. China has already opened a factory capable of pumping out 10,000 of these a year. They have 7,000 people already on the waiting list. For about $275,000, the price of a high-end Ferrari, you're not just buying a car, you're buying the sky. When you compare this to the West, the difference is clear. The US and Europe have brilliant engineers, but they're pinned down by old laws and a fear of the unknown. While they debate what if, China builds. While they test one plane, China builds 1,000. In this race, the winner isn't the one with the best concept. It's the one who builds the factory first. And as we've seen, the factory doors are already wide open. The progress in Rwanda, the bold bird planes in South Africa, and the massive deals in Kenya, it all flows from this one source. We are watching a masterclass in technological dominance. Africa has made its choice. It has traded red tape for speed, and the results are literally lifting off the ground. The world thought this continent would be the last to fly. Instead, with a little help from the East, Africa is the one showing the rest of the world what the future actually looks like. The future has arisen. If you want to see more projects reshaping the continent, click the video on your screen right now. It's exactly the kind of deep dive you've come to expect from us. I'll see you there.